Good afternoon. It's Sunday, May the 9th. I'm back in the Read Nook after what feels like a week and a bit of intermittent showers, which has prevented me from getting out here with the pile of parcels which has been building up in the meantime. It's a bright, sunny day, and I'm out here with a nice hot cup of tea, and of course, a parcel to open. So, let's get to it. Here, this is okay. Enchiridion of the Computarchs. Okay, I'm sure I pretty much pronounced that incorrectly. The Kabbalistic and powerful Computarchs built the world net, governed its growth, and established its laws and conventions, and seemingly retired from their world-altering creation. They left their tools and programs scattered throughout the vast network. Some have been found by seekers such as yourself and have been passed down from generation to generation. Collectively, these pieces of software are as known as the Enchiridion of the Computarchs. Enchiridion of the Computarchs presents casting mechanics and concepts for the high-tech settings. It encompasses a range of material concerning computers and programs that are technocaster, like the MCC Shaman class or those classes found in Cybersprawl Classics, Crawljammer, Umerica, Terror of the Status Fiend, and Starcrawl can utilize. You will not only find a collection of programs, aka spells, but also a D24 burn down, aka spell burn table, new mechanics for spell failure, and a brief corruption table, all couched in high-tech technobabble style for your post-apocalyptic far future and dystopian future campaigns. So, this is published by Horseshark Games. And it's a supplement essentially for use with Mutant Classics and similar titles. So Mutant Classics is a post-apocalyptic role-playing game which is based upon Gamma World originally, and uses the Dungeon Crawl Classics mechanics, whilst the others, things like Cybersprawl Classics, Crawljammer, America, are settings which use the underlying mechanics and setup of Dungeon Crawl Classics or Mutant Crawl Classics to game. So they are class and level settings, use the D20 for their primary mechanic, but also use a range of other dice depending upon the situation. So things can get more or less difficult depending upon the type of die rolled. Now, one of the interesting things in Mutant Crawl Classics is with the Shaman character. That's the spellcasting character in the setting, and actually, he's not casting spells. He's actually essentially sort of basically triggering software programs, which have been he's been granted access to by a patron AI. Because Mutant Crawl Classics is set sort of like thousands of years after basically in the Terra AD, after the disaster, after a great apocalypse, and but you can still able to contact the computer AIs from before the disaster, and they will basically grant their worshippers certain spells depending upon their alignment and what they basically what their purview is, what's their scope of their programming and software. So they, in effect, work as gods, but thematically, essentially, the player characters won't necessarily think of them as computer software, but they will think of them as gods, and may find out later that they're not. And it's an interesting way of approaching the idea of spellcasting and gods in the game, and it's thematically perfect. It works. So what we have in here is basically a guide to the Computarchs who built the world net, and then we've got a list of conventions, what it talks about. So here we're talking about, you've got how does Enchiridion of the Computarchs terminology, and then Dungeon Crawl Classics, Mutant Crawl Classics, and other compatible settings. So you've got essentially a table of where you can just work out which is which. Basically, it explains the terms. And we have a technical fault table for technological mishaps. So you've got quite a plain, tidy layout. And then you have the concept of critical errors and a burn down table where a user can pour himself into his programs but at great cost. Sometimes the extra is biological stressful. Other times a powerful entity comes to the programmer's assistance, offering computational boosts in exchange for favours or service. Burn down functions exactly like spell burn but uses the following table. So you've got someone suffering from burn down there. You can turn the page and you've got a table of results. So essentially the programs in this volume are primarily oriented around an adventuring user. So they include they don't include robust application distributed systems and professionally developed software of the era. So what we've got. Basic rules for how handling the program. I'm sure this is a little bit complex, but we'll get into that into a proper review. Because the Mutant Crawl Classic setting is one of my favourites. I do like the post-apocalyptic setting because it comes with an inbuilt sense of mystery because you're not aware of what's out there. Typically, you start off with this village and you basically going to have your rites of passage to become an adult, and you go out and explore, and you encounter dangers and environmental threats, which can be radiation or nano swarms or something like that, and there are robots and basically radically altered creatures which suffered mutations and the like. Lots of tables in here. Basically, you have one of the interesting things in Dungeon Crawl Classics, and both Dungeon Crawl Classics and Mutant Crawl Classics, is every spell has its own table. So what you do is you roll for the version of the spell, what it looks like, and then you roll for effect. And the more powerful a caster, or in this case a programmer you are, the better your bonus to have better effects. So let's have a look. You have things like close access. This program allows the user to bar both real and virtual entryways or portals. So the manifestation, you roll a d4, rapid clicking noises emanate from the secure door, or encrypted symbols flash across the face of the door, and so on. And then on a roll of 1, lost, failing, worse, okay, there's a critical error, and so on. If you roll at least a 12 or 13, portal, door, access point is held fast with a conventional locking mechanism. It can still be opened by normal means with immense effort, but then they go up and up in different effects. So if you roll 30 to 31, the program cloaks the portal, door, access point, making it completely disappear, leaving only a blank space of war for 46 times 10 days. And so on. So you have multiple spell programs like Decrypt, Decompile, Dynamo, Electric Shock, Force Field, Memory Implant, Glitch, just list of programs after programs. Reflecting screen, translate, and that's just the first level spells. You are going on to innumerable different spells after that. Essentially, so like Daemon, which is level 2, program creates an autonomous processing agent to do your bidding. It's under the user's control and can undertake a variety of tasks. So there we go, that's what the spell looks like, the effects look like. Literally a Daemon, basically your own software agent. So on, so all good for your basically your science fiction cyberpunk setting, or your post-apocalyptic setting. And the spells themselves, we've got 3rd level spells, 4th level, or programs I should say, up to 5th level. Not as many 5th level spells, but you've got some classics in here. Essentially like Firewall and Hellhound, which evokes all that. There are various spells in different games where you will have a Hellhound spell. Basically, there's a lot of the hacking rules kind of draw upon classic mythology or creatures and so on. And a Hellhound will obviously hunt you down, that sort of thing. And last we've got a table A for malicious code, and so on. Generators for a new program fault and technical acronyms if you want it. And lastly, a discussion of ICE. ICE is Intrusion Countermeasures Electronics. It's a defensive program employed by governments, corporations and organisations wishing to protect their information. And it comes from William Gibson's Neuromancer. So this is essentially where you want to do, which is basically essentially what you want to do, your cyberpunk campaign. And instead, in effect, instead of your netrunner or hacker casting programs, he's in effect mechanically he's casting spells, because you're using the same mechanics. But obviously within the context of the game, he's initiating software. So that's Enchiridion of the Computarchs, a supplement for primarily Mutant Crawl Classics and Cyber Sprawl Classics and so on, Crawl Jammer, that sort of thing. Published by Horseshark Games. I will give this a review in due course because, as I say, I like the setting, and I like this kind of mechanics. The effects, basically, there's a bit of randomness in the effects of what it does. It's not just go click, it does this. There's a random effect, and that adds to, gives capacity for storytelling and excitement and certainty. So yes, thank you for watching another unboxing in the Nook. If you've enjoyed this, please do click the like button down below, and if you've got any comments or feedback, I do take the time to read these. And last, of course, if you want to be notified of more unboxings in the Nook, then please do subscribe. Again, thanks for watching. I'll be back again with another unboxing in the Nook very soon. Bye for now.